I got a question from Cherie, and she said, "Do I know how to make Taniga?" So I said, "Yeah, of course." First, you go out and hunt a cow, and boy, those are wild animals, yeah. And he all day to look for a cow, and they run like the wind too. So you have to be a fast runner. Hey. No, it just brought back some good memories, yeah. Uh, when I was about 2 years old. Now, first of all, I have to say something, okay? I'm one of those kind of kids that has memories that goes back a really long time. So I do remember things when I was 2 years old. Yeah, I know lots of people are not like that, but there are some. Yeah, there are some people who can remember that far, and I'm one of them. Yeah. So yeah, when I was about 2 years old, my mother and I we had just left my father because my father was becoming an alcoholic, and he's from Rosebud on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation, and we returned to her parents' ranch on the Cheyenne River Sioux Reservation, and sometimes they would butcher a cow, yeah. So we would her relatives would come over and they would all help, yeah, and everybody gets fed. Yeah, we'd have a feast at our my grandparents' place. It was like a like a fest. Yeah, and there was music. My grandmother could play many instruments. Yeah, my grandmother and her parents they learned music in boarding school. That was one of the small shining lights of the boarding school. Mostly the boarding school was a horrible experience, but there were some small moments that were nice. And one of them was the music program and the athletic program too. Yeah, there were lots of good athletes back then too. And but the music was really a special thing. And so my great grandparents they met at the boarding school. They're in the band, yeah, the boarding school band, and they learned to play several instruments. And after they finished school, they got married and had a baby, which is my mother's mother. And this my mother's mother also became a musician. So when my grandmother, my mother's mother, um, her and her husband had this ranch, lots of times she would be playing yeah music and other local musicians too during the evening. Yeah, all day they butcher the cow and they prepare soup. Yeah, to feed everybody, beef soup and also what do you call it, taniga. And I remember that, yeah, because I remember there were several women there, and they were cleaning the intestines and washing them really good. They had several places, locate, doing this, and it was a big process. And then after that, they had this huge cast iron kettle, and then they would boil the taniga in there, yeah, the intestines, and they boil it for several hours. And while they're waiting, that's when they would have music, yeah, they would have music and waiting for the food, and then evening time comes and the soup is ready. Yeah, there were several soups. There were beef soups and also taniga soup. They don't cook it together. Yeah? They cook it separate. And oh oh oh, taniga really stinks. Yeah. Of course. What do you think it is? Yeah. Even after it's cleaned, it still smells. Yeah. But it tastes fantastic. Yeah. It tastes amazing. Yeah. It's really good. Really, really, really good. And so, when they cut the intestines up, the intestines, they look different in different areas. And there's this one part where they cut it into small pieces. It looks like a book, yeah, because it looks like it has pages. So my mom was telling me, all the all the names, yeah, all these different looking Taniga pieces, they had different kind of names. And the one that looks like a book, she said they called it the Bible. See, that's the Lakota sense of humor. Yeah, humor is so important in our culture. And and she said, yeah, she said some lady was probably cleaning this, and she said, "Oh, I found my Bible. Now I can read it and eat it at the same time." So the word stuck, yeah, and people started to call it that. So everybody calls it the Bible, yeah. That's my favorite one, yeah, my favorite piece. Excuse me. Anyway, um, yeah, so I remember eating that, and I know it leaves a thick grease layer on the roof of your mouth, you know, but oh, it's so worth it, yeah. It's so worth it. It's Taniga. Oh, I miss Taniga. Seriously, you grew up on that, yeah. And so I grew up on this ever since I was a baby. I was eating Taniga. So anytime my mom had Taniga soup, she would always save me some. Yeah, for if she went to a feast. A lot of times they eat this at feasts with they have beef soup and Taniga soup together. I mean not together, but they have both soups at these feasts because they butcher a cow for a feast. They did that because buffalo were becoming very rare and almost extinct, so we didn't have buffalo for many, many years. It wasn't until the 1990s, I think, that we started to have buffalo again. But before that, yeah, it was cows. So this was always a big thing, yeah, to have tchaniga at the feast. And so when my mother would go to a feast, she would always bring back a lot of tchaniga, a lot of beef soup and fried bread and other things that they have at feasts. Oh, good memories, yeah. I'm really glad I grew up like that. And the next generation after me, those are people who today they're in their 30s. These guys, they they don't like tchaniga. Yeah, they their parents, you know, probably never made it. See, if I was a girl, I think I would have learned how to make tanija. But after I got out of high school, I went to university, I started studies and stuff like that. So I never really learned how to make it. But I remember how my mother did it. Yeah, just by observation. So today I think I can. It's a simple thing, but it takes a long time. Yeah, you have to make sure it's cleaned good, and then you wash it several times, and then you boil it for a really long time. I don't remember, but to me it seemed like 4 to 5 hours. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a couple hours. I don't know. But it seemed to me like it was because it was a long time. Yeah, it stinks, but at the same time you're anticipating. Yeah, because you taste it already. Yeah, and you're just anticipating the eating it. So yeah. So the generation after me, like I said, if I was a woman, I probably would have learned how to make tchaniga. Yeah, if I was a woman, I would have learned how to make it. Not that that's a woman's thing, okay? But I think if I was a woman, I would be a better cook than I am. And I consider myself a pretty good cook, by the way. When you're single, you have to be a good cook, yeah? if if you like to eat, you have to be a good cook. I shouldn't say when you're single, when you're living alone, I should say. Yeah, when you're living alone and you only have yourself uh, at your home, then you should be a good cook if you want to survive. Anyway, so this was yeah, this was a good memory, yeah, and yeah, so this was. like I said, the generation after me, those guys are in their early 30s today. Those guys, they don't like Taniga at all. They can't stand it. Yeah, they they refused to eat Taniga. It's very rare that you will find somebody in their 30s today on the reservation who will eat Taniga. It's very rare. Yeah, this generation is mostly a junk food generation. Yeah, they eat a lot of junk food. When I was a little kid, we hardly ever had junk food. We hardly ever ate processed meats. Yeah, we hardly ever ate candy bars and potato chips and Coca-Cola, We hardly ever drank that. It was not a big thing for us. You know what? You know what? When I was a kid, there was a pump in our community that got water from deep under the ground. Oh, that water tastes so good. Yeah. And so we would go out riding our bikes and when it's really, really hot, South Dakota summer is 44 degrees Celsius, easy, yeah, easy. Um, and and so when I was doing this, um, we we would stop at the well, yeah, and then we would take turns. The one guy would pump the water, the other one's drinking it, and then we'd take turns. That's we did this. We helped each other. This was no question. When I was a child, no question. Yeah, was no question at all. We just learned that you help each other. Yeah, that's just the way it is. If you want something done, you need somebody's help sometimes. And this pump, you can't do it on your own because it was really big. So you'd have to stand there and pump for about a minute or so, and then water starts coming up, and then we take turns. Yeah, I would pump water for my friend, and then he would pump water for me, and then we get back on our bikes and take off again. This was clean, fresh underground water, no chemicals in it. Yeah, this is before fracking and all this oil company bullshit that's happening today. Now today you can't even find a good well, yeah, for water. But in back in the 1960s, you could there was it was really good. Yeah, so we drank water. Yeah, we didn't drink Kool-Aid. We didn't drink pop or anything. If there was anything else that we drank, it was tea, iced tea. Yeah, nest tea. Yeah, then my mother would put it out in the sun all day. Yeah, then in the evening time, it has supposed to have a sun flavor. I don't know what that means. They just called it sun tea. didn't didn't taste any different to me. Yeah, but to me, tea is tea. So that was the only other thing we drank, and of course, adults drink coffee. Yeah. So this is how we grew up. We grew up eating vegetables and fruits and natural foods and and wild animals. Yeah, deer meat. Some people eat rabbit meat, and we usually had deer meat. Yeah, my family and and sometimes beef. Yeah, and this is how I grew up. I'm thankful for that. But the generation after me, see, the people who are my generation, when they became parents, you remember a couple of days ago I was talking about the reservation about how the employment just increases every year, and so there's nothing to do. There are programs to help pay for your food and rent and things like that, but uh, there's no jobs. And even if you find a job, you don't make enough. You make more living on welfare than you do with the jobs that are available on the reservation. Yeah, there's not that many jobs available. So there's like lack of ambition. Yeah. So a lot of a lot of girls that are from my generation, they don't even know how to cook, and guys too, they don't even know how to cook. So what do they feed their kids? If they don't know how to cook, what do they feed their kids? Well, they get this thing called, it's a food stamp program. Every state in America has it. It's for people who are very low income. You get this. It's like a debit card. Used to be like a currency, yeah, like colored money. It's very pretty, but now it's a debit card. Now, some states it's a debit card. I think other states might still have the. It looks like a currency, yeah, like a book of money, yeah, and it's you use this. You can only buy food with it. That's all. So to save, what a lot of uh, people on food stamps do is they buy junk food because junk food is cheaper. Plus, you don't have to cook. So when it's supper time in these houses, you see a pot, you see a pan, a bread pan, and there's nothing but potato chips in there. And you see a plate with nothing but processed meats in there and a loaf of bread. So this is your supper: cold meat sandwiches uh, and potato chips. And what's your drink? Some cheap off-brand pop. Yeah, an orange pop or a strawberry pop or some kind of a cola or something. This is what they drink. So they're eating processed foods that have a bunch of preservatives in it, and they're drinking stuff that has a bunch of chemicals in it. And then what happens? You get a overweight generation, and you get increase in diabetes and heart disease and hypertension. Excuse me. Yeah, it increases. Okay, so that's how people from my generation started to feed their children, is with junk food. Not all of them. Okay, I'm not going to say all of them, but I can say about 50% of the Indians from my generation would feed their children nothing but junk food. Yeah. Okay. Now let's look at the next generation. And those are people who are in their 30s. Okay, because a lot of Native people, they have children when they're teenagers. Okay, so let's look at children, people who are in their 30s today. Now, again, people from my generation, they might like to eat Taniga, but they don't want to make it. Yeah, they prefer not to make the Taniga. Instead, they will eat junk food. So they might like it, but they don't want to make it. Do you see? Do you see what I mean? So when they have children, then the children never eat Taniga, so they don't develop a taste for it. And all they know is junk food. So now these children today are in their 30s. Excuse me, they are in their 30s. And they cannot cook because their parents never cooked, so they never learned how to cook. And this percentage is higher. It's probably 80, 90% that cannot cook. And therefore, they eat nothing but junk food. So the children today, the 21st century, are really a junk food generation and a half. Those who are in their 30s, that's the junk food generation. Yeah? But the ones who are children now, they're they're the junk food generation and a half. They're worse. Yeah, they're worse. When I was teaching 10, 14 years ago on the reservation, 1999, whoo that's 18 years ago. My gosh, time flies. Yeah, 1999 is when I began to teach. Then I left in 2004. Yeah, okay. So, um, when I went to the school, it was the same school that I went to when I was a child. I walked into the school lobby and I was shocked to see a whole bunch of vending machines there selling nothing but candy bars, potato chips, and pop. That's it. And all the kids were there. They were putting their money into these vending machines, and their breakfast was candy bars, potato chips, and pop. Now this money that from the vending machines goes to the school. So who's doing this? It's the school. The school is like making the children into junk food addicts. The school is encouraging the children to get diabetes, to become overweight, to develop heart disease, hypertension, and the school's making money from it. I was shocked. When I was a child, this was unheard of. And I saw in the hallways, students would have pop in their lockers. So between classes, they're drinking from their Mountain Dew, their Coca Cola. Yeah, they're drinking that between classes, and then go to the next class. Incredible. And it's no wonder that the children are so grumpy in the morning, and in the afternoon they're hyperactive. They're grumpy in the morning because they didn't have their sugar yet. The afternoon they've drank a bottle of Mountain Dew or something, so they're practically bouncing off the walls. Most of them don't even go to the lunchroom to eat healthy food. They go downtown, buy more junk food. Wow. What you eat really influences the kind of person you become. Let me tell you that. And I think those of you who are from my generation, you can see that. Yeah. It's very important that your children eat healthy foods and that you teach your children how to cook because when they become adults, they need to cook too. Yeah. It's very important. That's a life skill. So, this is what I was thinking about. Yeah. Anyway, in one of my classes, we were talking about Taniga, and that's our word for wild. What do you call it? Tripe soup or intestines. Okay. And in our culture, we eat this with wild turnips and wild onions. This grows in this. It's wild. Okay. This is not your the kind of stuff you buy in the store. Okay. This is this wild onions are really small. Okay. I learned how to find these plants. Yeah, timsila, this turnip. Um, so we learned how to do this, and then um, yeah. So these are the kind of things that we ate. Yeah. So when you make that in a soup, sometimes people add corn. Yeah, dried corn, and maybe um, what else do they do? Hominy. It's called hominy. Dried corn and hominy. And you okay, if you have a soup that has wild turnip, wild onions, dried corn, hominy, and you put that in with your taniga, oh my God, that is that if they have soup in heaven, if there was such a thing as heaven, that's what heaven is. So we were talking about this, yeah, and my students were going, "Ooh, Taniga, ooh, gross." And then one guy, his name was Justin, yeah, and Justin was. Mr. Little Lila, Taniga Lila lo watching, Wana Lila lo watching, he's saying. He's talked in Lakota. Because my students talked Lakota, okay? That's what you're supposed to do, is teach them how to talk. Most Lakota teachers, they just teach their students numbers, colors, and animals, different word lists. But in my class, we learned how to dialogue immediately because that's what you do in a language class. So he said this to me in Lakota, yeah, Mr. Little, watching yellow, he was saying. And his friends thought he was joking. And this really surprised me because I never saw one. A young Lakota, yeah, this young, that liked Taniga. And I remembered, oh, he grew up with his grandmother. His grandmother raised him. That's my aunt, yeah. Excuse me, his grandmother raised him, so he knows this. And so I said to him, "You are lucky." And he said, "Yes, I know." He's all smiles. Yeah, you are lucky. You know what Taniga is like. Yeah, you have Taniga power. So he left when the class was over. He was all smiles and yeah, cause it's good. Yeah, it's a really good thing. So I was just thinking about that. Cherie asked me if I know how to make Taniga. And here she is. She's talking in the background, and she said, okay. She made Taniga. Yeah, Cherie can make Taniga. Wow. She sent me a picture of it, and it looks good. Oh my, this really looks good. Oh, jeez, this is good. This French woman can make Taniga. I'll be damned. Oh man, that's pretty cool. Surprised me, yeah. This when was that? About a year ago, she sent me some fry bread. Slady's getting good. I need to learn how to make fry bread. Yeah, I don't even know how to make it. I love to eat it. I should learn how to make it. Anywho, I just it was a nice memory. Yeah, nice to think of those things sometimes, and because it is really crazy. Yeah, when I look back in my years, I'm not an old person, but time really goes fast. And but you look back and you see all these young Lakota people. They don't have their language. They barely know their culture. And what little they know is a dualistic form. So it's not the ancient way. And they're thinking not like the ancestors. And know, they don't have an appreciation for Taniga. To me, is the saddest thing of all. Hey. they they don't have an appreciation for Taniga. That just breaks my heart. But it's serious though, yeah, seriously, because it's wow, that is so sad, yeah. There's so many things going from our culture. Another one is the joking relationship. This is between brothers and sisters-in-law. Excuse me. That's really going too. You don't see that happening very often. People are too serious these days, yeah, and this drug meth is really overrunning the reservation, and it's not good. Yeah, it's not a good thing. Hmm. It's crumbling. Yeah, it's falling apart. It's sad to see that, but I'm glad I got to experience it. Yeah, I'm glad I got to experience the Taniga. It's so important to me. Anyway, when I came to Berlin, 2004, see, the person I used to be with somebody, we were together for since 2000, yeah, the year 2000, and we went different ways in 2014. So we knew each other for almost 15 years, but we lived together for 10 years, yeah, in Berlin. In the beginning, it was very nice, of course, as all relationships are. Well, most anyway. And she really liked Taniga, yeah, because when she used to come to the reservation, sometimes we go to powwows, and I asked her to try uh, Taniga. What do you think? You want to try that? And she tried it and she loved it. Yeah. So I back then I was like, yeah, this one's a keeper. She likes Taniga, so she's a keeper. That's my test. Yeah. Oh my. Excuse me. Oh shoot. And she really liked it, yeah. So every time she came to visit me in South Dakota, she always wanted to go to a powwow, not to see the dancing and singing, because she did like that, but mostly for Taniha. That was cool. Yeah, I really, those are good moments. Yeah. But people change. Yeah, and sometimes it's not for the better. There you have it. But it was good. It was good while it lasted, and I do respect that time, and I treasure that time, and I don't have any negative or should I don't have any bad feelings about it. It's a special time in my life. Um, but anyway, when I first moved to Berlin, she said, "Let's make some taniga." So we said, "All right." So we lived in an old European building, and these are old, like over 100 years old. And we lived on the top level. Yeah, it was a three-story, uh, no, three-level building. For you, those of you in America, that means 4 stories. Okay, but in Europe they say 3 levels. You don't count the first level. You call that the ground level. Yeah, and then so in America, what you say the second story is for in Europe they say the first floor, first level. Erste Etage, let's call it. Excuse me. Anyway, we lived on the top, and so and she said, "Let's make some taniga." So she's all right. So we went to a butcher shop, and we got some. Yeah, we bought some uh, tripe, and she learned from my mother, yeah, how to make it. So we started boiling this, and we had it boiling for several hours, and then and then I think it was about we started boiling our tanija at about I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was probably about 6 or 7 o'clock. It was done, and we managed to find some hominy and some corn, yeah, and some other things, and so we put that in there, and we boiled it like that till it was ready. Oh, geez, that tasted good. Yeah, Taniga in Berlin. But the funny thing, it stinks. Yeah, and it stunk up the whole neighborhood. So we heard people talking outside. At this time, I couldn't speak German yet. Yeah, so the person I was with, she said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, listen, listen, listen." She said, and she said, people are saying, "What's that horrible smell?" So she peeked out the window. They're all looking up at our apartment. People were standing in the street and they were saying, "Oh my God, what's that horrible smell?" So we got a complaint, yeah. Shit. So it could. That was the only time I could. That was the last time I had Taniga. Oh man, that's too funny. Oh jeez. So that's something I miss. Yeah, I really miss eating Taniga. So that's part of the culture. Yeah. So look at what I said. Everything that I said here the past few minutes. I talked about the culture. I talked about uh, look at how the food plays a big role in the culture. Um, look at how there's humor involved, um, and all those kind of things. And it shows you, yeah, that is what's important. Yeah, healthy food, humor, yeah, and all these kind of things. They're all important. Yeah, and if you're just serious all the time, it's you're missing out on so much in life. When all you do is carry anger about something, and maybe your anger is justified. Okay, I'm not saying it's bad, but if that's all you are feeling, then you're going to have a problem. Yeah. So it's very important to take time away from whatever serious situation you're in, or even if you're in a difficult situation. Yeah. Even if you're going through a difficulty right now, it's okay to take some time away from it and just go do something you really like. Yeah, whether it's eating something or going to a restaurant or just do something that normally makes you feel good, that you enjoy, and a nice activity. Yeah, just take some time away from it. It doesn't mean you're denying it. It doesn't mean you're ignoring it. You're just taking a step back for a little while. Or remember something like what I'm doing tonight. Yeah, I'm remembering some things from my past, and it's making me feel good. See, I feel good talking about these things, talking about my childhood, about when my mother was showing me these Taniga pieces and my teaching. When we were talking about Taniga, and then of course the person I used to be with, and how we made Taniga here in Berlin, and you see, it's making me laugh. It's okay to do that, yeah. And then, yeah, you're just taking a break. That's all you're doing. And what you're also doing is you're recharging your batteries, symbolically speaking, figuratively speaking. You're just recharging yourself. That's all you're doing. And then what do you call it? Then you can come back to your situation and you're refreshed. Your mind has been cleared. Now you can look at your situation, whatever it is, if it's a difficulty or a serious situation or whatever. You take some time to relax, and everything is connected. Your physical, your mental, your spiritual, emotional. If you have the opportunity, you should get a massage. I know for people on the res, they're like, yeah, right, because that just doesn't exist on the res. Yeah. But if you are living someplace where there is a massage place, yeah, I mean a real massage place. A lot of people in America, when people hear the word massage, they think, oh, that's cover for a brothel. No, no, no. In Europe, it's not that way. A massage place is where you get a massage for reals. Yeah. So, yeah, really, because when you are going through that and then maybe get a go through a sauna afterwards, See, you're really working on your physical part, and this is going to help you in your mind, emotionally, and spiritually because these four parts are connected to each other. Or go for a run, go for a walk, go for a swim, yeah, go for a ride, go ride a horse or something because it all connects to your mind, your emotions, and your soul. So when you do something like that, see, you are recharging everything. So when you come back to that situation, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a difficulty. You don't have to have a difficulty to be going through this, but it's okay. Maybe your life is going okay right now. It's still okay to do this because you might come up with a new idea. Yeah, that's nice. So that's why it's important to be at peace with the past, so you can go back and look at it again and enjoy certain things and learn something new. As you're always living a healthy life, you're progressing. That means every day you see more and more of reality. Then when you're at peace with your past, you look at it, you learn something new. Have a deeper appreciation for something. That's how it is. Yeah. So just just a few words there. Just some suggestions. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get ready to switch gears here. So, but first of all, I want to take a little music break, and then we will do that. Okay. So, um, hang on a second. I gotta look through my 45s here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got one lined up here. So anyway, yeah, like I said, this is just a suggestion, yeah, but it works. It is a suggestion that works. So, and you don't have to be in a difficulty to do it, but if you are, it's a good thing to do. Okay. So, or if you know somebody who's going through something like this, go to them and spend some time with them and say, hey, remember when slowly go into that, go into that activity. Slowly bring them in there. Yeah. Or do something funny to break the tension or whatever. And then remember you can say, remember when something like this happened, and go into it like that too. It's another way to do it.